Welcome to Momentum Monday, Howard.
My Ben. Uh-oh. Did I lose you already?
No, I'm still here.
I see a spinning wheel. Oh, there you are. And you are not in Venice, for people that just don't get it yet.
I'm pretty close.
Why the V-neck, Ivan? It's a bold color, and it's a very interesting choice. You went V-neck. What is it? What are you showing off?
Most of my shirts are actually V-neck. They look better.
You manscape?
In some parts of my body, yes.
By the way, Ivan, pull up Manscaped. This is a friend of mine's company, manscaped.com here in San Diego. I think everybody who, I'm not an investor, although I love, just cracks me up.
Manscaped.com.
I spend 90% of my life with my razor going, even though it's to get 1 or 2 hairs a day. So I don't really manscape, but all I do is manscape. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like I don't do yoga, but I wear Lulu clothing. It seems to be... It's taking, oh, there we go. Below the waist grooming, Ivan. How do you not own this product? It's the perfect Ivan product. This is going to be a huge, this company is so funny. It's kind of like, it's a whole brand built around what younger people are doing. Women demand clean men. It's a precise trim, Ivan. Okay, let's get to trends. But this is a trend. Manscaping is a trend.
It is, I agree.
Mark my words. And it could be why the S&P is frictionless with all this shaven men. And that could be why the index are going. I mean, how, we're getting right to the charts here, Ivan?
Yes.
This is the S&P. This is the S&P. I'm going to call this market Nirvana. I've now changed, the name of today's show is Nirvana, Ivan, because it's pretty much, if you live in America and have investing dollars and are not long, it's very hard for me. It's hard for everything we do. It's hard to teach people. You have to be in the market for moments like this, which I call Nirvana. Everything's lining up long for stocks, other than season. And season can be a big one, but you miss one good month, even if it comes during a bad season. Historically a bad season, you can miss many years of returns. And so we're in this market right now with the silliest things happening, generally in the direction of the trend, which is up. And now we see the S&P at all-time highs, Ivan, today?
Yes, people were very concerned that the S&P hasn't made new all-time highs for 6 months, but...
Which is a pretty long time period, right, in the scope of things, especially since we've been in a bull market?
Yeah, but you can see it's been making higher lows, and now it just made higher highs, so new all-time highs.
For people not, I guess we have to start podcasting this too, which we've already forgotten to do for another week. But you can just listen to this on YouTube and still kind of get the gist of all this. But we're looking, everybody, at a chart of the S&P, the largest ETF in the world, largest index in the world. Pretty much every company in here that's big is doing international business. This is why I generally avoid international investing. I keep my dollars in the US, and I want my companies to denominate in the US. And as much as we make fun of the Teslas of the world and the cons of the world, it is still the SEC, for all its flaws, and the markets for all its riggedness. The S&P is still where I prefer to invest, in the American top companies. Okay, all-time highs. NASDAQ busted through 8,000. I called it today. I've written a series of posts over the years about NASDAQ 10,000. We are in fresh new high territory. I think the NASDAQ was above 8,000 today. First time ever. We are 30% away. We are officially on NASDAQ 10,000 watch, because I think we started talking about $1 trillion when stocks got to about 700 billion, 800 billion. So we're basically at the point where, the only thing we can talk about is NASDAQ 10,000, because it sure as heck, we peaked out around 7,600 in January. While the S&P went sideways, the NASDAQ continued to make new highs. I don't know what to say here other than Nirvana. You have unbelievable rotation. There is a way to spin every story today as a tech story. from tobacco with vaping to weed, around growing to obviously the FANG stocks to Chinese internet stocks. Everything seems to be working. And what's not working kind of makes sense. Like with Tesla going sideways, if we look at Tesla, which is kind of dominates the headlines for traders and kind of goofballs, the fact that Tesla, with all this news, is still above $300 a share is a testament to this bull market. It may not be a testament to Elon Musk, or it's a testament to this boom that Tesla, which can't turn a profit, which can't make a decision around whether to be private or public, which has all this speculation around its financials and true story. It's still a $300 stock. I mean, that alone is amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially on that rip. A couple weeks ago, there were quite a few people that were squeezed out of their shares, out of their short exposure. So now most are just afraid.
Yeah. And the other thing last week, and we can see the financials today, Goldman and XLF, we can see a lot of people who didn't want to get along were just blaming it on the financials. Well, it's hard to get excited, and I don't disagree in general, but there's just so much leadership outside the financials. And by the way, the financials have never had better financials, meaning they don't even have to cheat right now. They don't even need to do much. They're printing money. So again, as much as they haven't been romping with the market, it's just a matter of time before they do romp, because people will look in a bull market to these things and go, oh, they're going to play catch up. So again, it's one of those markets I call nirvana, where chasing is work. Let's look at the marijuana stocks. Doesn't matter what you pay, they just go up. Well, I think one that you mentioned was the IPO.
Yeah.
I mean, stocks are making massive moves in the marijuana sector, meaning risk capital is fearless right now. That's generally medium term, that's very scary, but short term, it's working. And it's very hard to time these things, and that's why you want to be in the market and be in leading stocks, because these moves can be crazy, as we've seen. And you have to have some money management issues, because as we've seen with Chinese stocks, when things get crazy, pull up a myriad of Chinese stocks, when things get crazy, as they did in January, end of last year, pull up a weekly. I guess it was more the small cap. If we pull up like some of the small cap Chinese internet stocks, they were just, as we headed into end of last year. Yeah, there you go. You went from 16 to 40 on the index, or on a lot of these stocks are just doubling and tripling in a month or two. And you can see that, yeah, nirvana leads to periods of like, you got to understand risk management, because ideas that just are fun and going up 30% a week just can't continue that pace. So, but nirvana is why you want to be in the market. So let's look at some fresh ideas, Ivan. What's showing up as breaking out for you?
The most interesting development since last week is that it seemed the euphoria for the retail sector has subsided a little bit, and then we're seeing a rotation into other sectors. Basically, today everything other than retail worked, or for the past few days.
Okay, that's okay.
Let me pull up the XRT, which is the retail ETF.
Yeah, pulled back over the last week. We got excited about it last week, and now you're seeing a pullback. Nothing crazy.
Well, still in an uptrend. It just needs time to consolidate its recent gains. And there are quite a few retailers that actually are scheduled to report earnings in the next couple of weeks. And maybe many market participants are just saying, oh, they're already priced to beat earnings. Maybe it's time to take some profits. But other than that, I see some rotation into biotech.
Wow, look at that. So the biotech index is, we talked about the gen stocks, Amgen, MyGen. These are the three that I liked: Amgen, MyoGen, I think, and Seattle Genetics.
Yes.
There's Seattle Genetics. At MyGen, right? I own some here at 50. It just looks like it could explode. And then if you look at Amgen, which is the beast, it just looks, that stock could gap up 20 points to new highs. And that's more of a medical Illumina. So you can see risk is on. So the first thing we want to see in trends is capital flowing. You have a GOP and you have a president that are, no matter how many scandals there are, all they care about is the economy. That is what they're leaning on. And so they're going to do everything they can to keep this wheel spinning, because that's what the midterm's coming up, and it's going to be a battle of a midterm. It's going to be a war in the media. And underneath it all, that's probably pretty good for the market because people are spending, right? And people are glued to the drama, and they're not focused on the market. And that's how markets really start going up. You have all the conditions of a bull market. You have the breakouts, you have the money flows, you have good names leading, you have broad leadership, and everybody's focused on on the president and the elections, which are important, but at the same thing, the markets are happening. Amazon right at all-time highs.
Here's what's interesting to me is that the indices are making new all-time highs, but the big stocks like Amazon and Google are kind of basing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that if this bull market is going to continue near term, we might see those break out, as many funds who are underinvested might put money into them. So it makes sense to keep an eye on the big names, the Amazon, Google, and Apple, Netflix.
Yeah, I think if this moment of Zen continues in this nirvana, you're going to see biotechs follow through here. And you could easily see a move in the NASDAQ like a 5 to 10%. And that would be huge moves in some individual stocks. So again, I don't think you want to play the indexes here. I think the indexes are in the all clear zone. I think you want to find really good setups and really be selective and really, take some risks. There's just a ton of all-time highs. Security stocks. We got Checkpoint and Palo Alto. Let's look at Checkpoint. It's been marking time for a very long time. One of the great security companies out of Israel, just a massive profit machine, not a huge fast grower anymore, but again, a leader that's digested, a couple years of gains, strong sector, the election's coming up. This is a stock that I own. I've kind of just been quietly, holding it. This is stock Palo Alto Networks that is basically Cisco on rails. It's meaning Cisco's main business, security, where it's hard to break this out of the Cisco ecosystem. But Palo Alto Networks is a much pure security play in that space, and you can see stocks at all-time highs. New CEO, doesn't matter. Stock, took the news of the old CEO retiring and digested it. Maybe that's good news or bad news, but the good news is in the price. The stock gapped down below 200 a month ago, and now it's back at all-time highs. It doesn't matter who's running the business when money's flowing into the company. Long-term, that matters, but right now, short-term. And then we can look at Cisco. Well, that's the hack ETF that Ivan just pulled up, HACK, all-time highs. If we look at Cisco, it's a behemoth. Also, right at all-time highs. So the security sector, it's just a good story. And there's just a lot of wind underneath the sail as companies spend on security and governments spend on security. So I think security and biotech are my two favorite areas. Enterprise software, Ivan, continues to run. It's very hard to chase. We know these things will not continue to trade at these crazy valuations. Okta, all-time highs. Zendesk, all-time highs. Salesforce, all-time highs. ServiceNow, all-time highs. These have been on our list for a year. So again, I don't know how you enter these today. HubSpot is another one, HUBS. Meaning, I think you have to be really careful with entries and find, when the market's this good, you want to find good entries because it will turn and it can be vicious in the nirvana market when air comes out of these. So you really have to just be a little bit more selective. Enjoy the market as it is, but be a little more selective in chasing stocks. Small caps, Ivan's now pulling up all-time highs.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a short-term trader, you need to be a little careful for the next few days with that gap up and then a hammer and a close near the lows for the small caps.
The small caps. Okay. Yeah, like I said, there is rotation, but generally risk is on. And I think what we've seen today is if you look at security sectors and biotech sectors, they're big enough, they're sexy enough within the whole tech and loose money environment, and they're coming out of longer term bases that you need to dabble a little in these sectors. If I was going to say biotech and for me, biotech and security, I have some exposure, as I talked about, the Gen stocks and Palo Alto Networks and Checkpoint. I continue to ride enterprise stocks. Obviously, I like Fashology, which is Apple, Lulu, Etsy, and Nike. Lulu reports tomorrow 140. Don't chase, but I love it. Nike continues to execute. But I think this is just more about the statement of fashion and technology. And Etsy is another one. Even it's more crafts, but it is in a way fashion, right? It's people expressing themselves and building markets on top of the Etsy platform, more all-time highs. So hopefully that helps. Ivan, any other ideas that you're looking at on a swing perspective, or you're saying be careful on the small caps here?
I mean, with today's close of the small cap, just be careful for the next few days. But I'm bullish on biotech, and in biotech, you can own individual stocks, or if you want to go a little wild, you can just own the triple leveraged small cap biotech ETF, which is LABU. Me personally, I own this one right now for a swing trade. What are ideas do I have? Today I like the breakout in a line. It's another one that I own. That breakout about 372.
Wow. Yeah. Medical products. Ivan?
Yes.
So ILMN is a Lumina and Align is another one.
And another one that is looking interesting is Assign, which is a staffing agency in the healthcare space. It's also trying to break out today.
Okay. So I agree with you, Ivan. So this would be a third area right now: healthcare technology or healthcare medical. Yep. So those are three great companies. How are some of the bigger names doing, like Medtronic, MDT? Yeah. Pacemakers, baby. That whole Chinese market is just going to be massive too.
Yeah. Looking amazingly bullish. Just broke out on a big earnings surprise last week. And
this probably has a lot more room in it. I mean, it's a boring institutional stock with steady growth. But again, the whole Chinese and Indian markets, eventually these great American companies, unless they steal all the patents, the distribution of, Medtronic's been in, pretty much it's only pretty much doubled. This Medtronic, that's very interesting. Pull this up on a weekly. Is this? Okay, so it's been going sideways for, 3 to 4 years in a base between 60 and 80. Yeah. Unbelievable. ResMed is another one, Ivan, which is an old favorite of mine that I own a little bit, sleep stock. I hear nothing but great things about their newest products. I've been hearing the Lamborghini of sleep, meaning it's digital and hardware-based sleep help around their products. Go pull up a daily on ResMed. It's just a relentless grind higher. Just low volatility grind higher. So then, Ivan, we got enterprise, which is obviously software, which just continue to work. We're adding in some medical tech here, which have worked, but are coming out of some good bases and may have some explosive upside. Combined with biotech, which is, for the more aggressive, combined with security software and hardware. So that's a lot of meat of ideas to look through that we've given you. And that's what it is. In a nirvana market, you got to have some risk on. And, if you're scared and you've avoided this whole market, I would say biotech. If you want to take a little bit of risk, there's a couple stocks to look at, and the healthcare ones that Ivan showed, and maybe Checkpoint and Cisco for those really nervous and just want to have some exposure to tech. And it looks like security software could be a little less volatile through the midterms. What else, Ivan? Not that we need to give more, but what else?
I mean, as I said, in the past few days, anything other than retailers is just working and it's breaking out. Just literally everything.
Okay. All right. Well, we're not going to over chat. This is not a market where you got to spend a lot of time thinking. Thinking will mostly hurt you here. But, you know, don't get too cocky. Enjoy this nirvana, but like this is, you know, markets are can be moody. And as much as you enjoy nirvana and have money at work here, you know, do not chase.
Yeah, I agree. All right. See you next time.
All right. And thanks, Marcus Smith, as usual, for the charts. They're fantastic.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. Okay, buddy.